Welcome back to The Bounce, folks. The NBA program brought to you by Stadium Rant. I am Kev, and with me is James. James, how are you, sir?
I am fantastic. Kev, how you doing today, bud?
Well, I'm doing a lot better than the guys on my hat, although they've
Ooh.
turned it
Ugh.
around. But it's been a long week for Pacers fans.
It
Kind of
has.
a little bit of this action going on. We are up
Yeah,
and
it's
down,
not
riding the
looking
wave.
great. They are winning. They got to win. Don't have a winning streak. They did win their last one. That's good. But 4-6 in their last 10. Not great.
Not great. No, not great.
Not
Still flirting
great.
with what are we doing territory at
Yeah,
15 and
15
14
and
at this point.
14. They're not turning a corner either way.
Starting to saw a poll yesterday from a shout out actually to Alex Golden over at the Setting the Pace podcast. He put up a poll that was asking Pacer fans, what would you like to see from this team at this point, 15-14? Playoffs, play in, or lottery? And I was like, I hate to break it to you,
God.
man, but I don't know that any of those options are even available to this Pacers team.
Yeah.
I don't know if they lost everything now that they would have a lottery pick, but we will dive into that a little bit later because, of course, we got to check in on our
What
boy
do you
Wemby.
What do you have to say to the fact that they scored 82 points on Monday? They held the team to 87, held the Heat to 87, and they lost.
82 points. That is straight
You.
out of that feels
Ugh.
like a score from 2005. That's like
Yeah, it's
sounds
the
like some
only time all season they've scored 80. That's it. They then followed it up 2 days later with a 125-point win against the Warriors. So
yeah.
a 43-point difference there.
I wonder if Halliburton was out that game. I know he missed. They had a couple of guys out, a couple of points
Would
throughout the
make the
week.
most sense.
Yeah,
Just looking at that. Let's see here.
they didn't have
God.
Andrew Nemhard to score
Halliburton,
32
whoa,
points.
you are wrong. He did play. This is a stat line for you, Kev. 1 point, 0 for 9 from the field, 0 for 6 from 3-point land. He had one free throw, 1 for 1. He's perfect from free throw, which is great. 6 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 turnovers. The curse of the bounce continues. He is, after we talked about him as a possible MVP candidate, has gone
Ooh.
down.
You sure you didn't pull one of my stat lines from Summer League from
Man,
back in the day?
that looks like that. I would. You can hit a three. I'm gonna give you. I think you're a sniper out there. I think you're holding back on us. Woo,
I can hit
that's brutal.
the free throws for sure, but yeah, no,
Yeah, that's
I can.
brutal.
0 for 9. I tell you what, I still would have shot number 10 though. That's what Coach taught me.
Yeah,
You don't ever stop shooting.
man.
Shoot or shoot, baby. Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of shoot or shoot, this man, have you seen him? He
Oh my
can shoot
goodness.
the basketball. Now, we're going to dive into this whole performance, but before we do, I wanted to just
Let's see
let
some of this.
it speak for itself. So we actually do have volume for these clips, so bear with us, folks. Watch your ears in case it's loud.
Tatum shooting 4 for 8 from beyond the arc. Jalen shooting 2 for 3. Your stars. And then doing that.
And then doing that.
It's beautiful. That's so hard to do. Like that is. I mean, look at the post player down there jumps like it's an alley oop. Like that is an impossible shot.
And just like the physics of it, right? He's going to the basket. That's a floater. His body weight is going to the left and away from the basket, and he's floating it up with his right hand. Like it's just he's going. It's so weird. Just it's very impressive to see a contested floater like that go in. Yeah.
If I attempted something like that, I would end up in the hospital.
Something
would go wrong.
Yes, my knee ankle, something's not coming back from that.
Yeah, it's over. We lost something there.
Well, we have this beautiful play right here. Also Reggie Miller is a national treasure, by the way. One more look at that.
That TNT soundbite too is a national treasure too. The it's so good, so good.
Yeah.
That shot is dirty. Like right baseline, dribbling down, turnaround jumper, fading away to tie the game. Under 20 seconds left in the fourth. That is unbelievable. And then they go into overtime and win.
It was a backbreaker, wasn't it? That's
Backbreaker.
where we can start this conversation, if you'd like, was the Lakers collapse in overtime, because there were multiple collapses on both sides in this game. What happened in overtime? What was your take on it, James?
I gotta go pull up this. The big thing, like you said, it was a game of so many different runs because Boston was up so big. Boston was up, I think, 13 plus.
They were up 20 at one point.
Is that what it was? Okay, so
yeah.
I thought it was 20, but I didn't want to put it on record and have to eat those words. They were up 20, then they go down. That's what it was. They were up 20. LA goes on like an 18-2 run, gets back in it. Then LA goes up 13 in the fourth, and then LA collapses, and I think the wind just gets taken out from underneath you. And you talk about it's a second straight game where Anthony Davis missed close free throws down the stretch to cost him the game. So he missed. I think he was 0 for 2 down the. I think he missed 2 in the last minute, right? And I think the game before he missed 1. I think that's what it was.
I believe that's correct. Yes, and that was big clutch free throws missed. I think potentially, which could be concerned. Oh, go ahead.
Right before that, I got the play-by-play. I pulled it. So right before that shot, with 28 seconds on the clock, Anthony Davis misses. They're up 2. He misses both free throws.
Both of them, yeah.
Yep.
And I think the issue here could be, and think of it what you will, and I could be wrong on this, but maybe he's just playing too many minutes.
What the head coach said that after the game, that he thought he screwed that up, that he thought he should have staggered those minutes more and given him some more time because, like you said, he played a ton of minutes. Let's go pull that stat up. He played 46 minutes. That's so he can't.
That's a lot.
And speaking of, like, LeBron played 43,
which you also do not want happening. Like I know the man. I mean, let's be honest. In that game, LeBron had 33 points. LeBron played almost as well as AD in this game.
33, 9-9, yeah.
43 minutes.
But he's too old. He's too old
for this. Yeah.
He can't. You got all kinds of problems. He cannot be playing those kind of minutes. And he'll get hurt again. What's going to happen? He's going to break down.
Exactly, and it's going to be it could be a muscle thing again. We could see a groin, hammy lingering, and then he just at that point. I mean, it's lucky that he's developed the 3-point shot that he has because it's going to extend his career beyond even where we're at now, but also allows him to be dangerous on offense without full use of his legs. But yeah, the Lakers can't win if LeBron's not full LeBron and same with AD. And I'm not going to blame a guy. Now, if this happens a few more times at this point, it's going to be an AD problem. But couple of games of a guy being gassed, missing free throws,
it happens.
You got to fix it, but it does happen. Yep.
Legs are out from underneath you. Shortchange them. They were up, and they started off. They went up 4 in overtime, and then they just actually went up 4 on Russell Westbrook, scoring 4 straight points, and then they allowed 12 straight by Boston. So right at 53 seconds left in the game, it's 122-114 in overtime. So they started off hot, and then after that, just careened
and you
down,
just
fell apart.
Touched on something that I was wanting to ask you about because I pulled up the play-by-play for overtime because I got very confused as to why Anthony Davis' first shot attempt was with only a minute left in overtime. And and it was all Russell for about the first 4 or 5 possessions for the Lakers. And I thought that had a bit of an issue too. Yeah. And
missed pull up, first 3, and then LeBron shoots a 3. Yeah. Then Russell shoots a 3. Like, I don't know, man. That's like, you've got a borderline MVP candidate the way he's playing, and you're not just throwing the ball right to him.
I know he's tired, but layups aren't free throws. I'd still be taking my chances with Anthony Davis close to the rim over pull up jumpers from Westbrook at that point in the game. Yeah. But I think that's where we still need to see some of that growth from Russell. Well, he's done a lot in that department, right? Coming up,
you're not hearing as much about him. Like, you're not hearing the complaints about him like you were at the start of the season.
And I do think you have to, tip the cap. There we go, for being able to take that on the chin and be part of the second unit. And like you said, we're not hearing about it. He's being a good teammate, but now it's also the next step in that evolution is learning how to be that role player when you're in between the lines as well. Like LeBron and AD are options 1 and 2. I should probably, and that's where it gets tough because you can't be Russell Westbrook without, or anybody really in the NBA without thinking I can take and make 3 shots in a row. But but also you got 2 MVPs on the court with you who have combined for 70 points tonight. Maybe give them a look. One of those 3 possessions.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. Make sure they get a look.
Yeah.
You're the point guard. That's your job, to keep everyone else warm and keep them in a rhythm, not to, hey, I got this for the next 3 minutes, boys.
Credit to them for being in a game with Boston, the best team in the league, but you have to find ways to get that game.
You have to win that
They're
game.
11 and 16. They have to find ways to get that game because they aren't in the luxury of being able to lose games. They lose too many, they're going to be in serious trouble.
And that you touch on a good point there to flip this. Does this win say anything? Does it scare you for Boston at all? Because this is a game they did win, but this Lakers team is 11 and 15 and they almost lost it. Are you concerned by this, or is this just another good win for Boston?
Oh man, Kev, I think one of the biggest problems you're going to run into with Boston is the complacency type issue. They're just going to they're so far. The Bucks are right behind them, but them and the Bucks are the best 2 teams in the league. It's not even close. They're the only 2 teams with 7 losses. There's only 4 teams in the league that are under 10. The other 2 in the Western Conference, and the Pelicans and Memphis. And in their conference, those 2 teams, they're 4 games up on the Cavs, who are 3rd at 18 and 11. Like, I think that's going to be their big. I'm not worried about them as much as I'm worried about like a complacency type issue. They have, since last week, they're only 2 and 1. They're 1 and 2. They lost to Golden State and they lost to LA. They were on their West Coast swing there. They played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games in a row. Woof, on the road. It's brutal.
Yeah.
They finished it with their West Coast, Phoenix, Golden State, LA. And 2 and 2 there. I'm not worried about them at all. And did you see that who's coming back on Friday? Robert Williams is going to make his debut Friday against the Magic.
Not a minute too soon, if I say so.
I would agree. Yes.
You mentioned that complacency, and luckily I feel pretty confident in the fact that the Celtics won't get complacent very often on offense. I think this team loves to play offense all year long.
Yes.
But that was the thing. At one point, Reggie made the comment in that Lakers-Celtics game. He's like, well, what you have here is the Celtics have no answer for AD or LeBron, but luckily for them, the Lakers have no answer for Tatum and Brown. And I think that one of the downfalls to what Boston's got going for them right now is they're too easy. They're too ready to rely on that. Like, you're going to get yours. It doesn't matter because you can't stop our 2 guys.
Tatum has 44, Brown has 25,
Yeah. But so they need to Robert Williams will be a big
that
big
defense is about to take a major jump.
Yeah. Because offensively they have it all. We've been talking about it, of course. Brogdon, one of the best, most efficient 3-point shooters in the league right now, Malcolm Brogdon. He was as of time of the Boston Lakers game, because they were talking about it on the broadcast, how well he was shooting. So they have everything right now in Boston. So they get that defense
he's such
going.
A good role player. He is 48.4% from 3. Yeah.
Ain't bad. Ain't bad.
He's shooting the cover off it.
Wow. So we got that. Now we can take a look at some of the scores from last night, because we had a decent run of games last night, and some very interesting developments from a few of these. So James, what sticks out to you first? Which of these Wednesday games catches your eye?
I want to pull up the first one is Nikola Jokic's Wednesday night. He had one of the possibly best games you're ever going to see. He had a season high in points. He had 43 points, 17 of 20 from the field. He missed 1 attempt inside the arc, 14 rebounds, 8 assists, and 5 steals in a win against Washington last night. That is unbelievable. That's why he's back-to-back MVP. That's why, like stuff like that.
That is insane. You can take parts of that stat sheet and they're impressive on their own. The 17 for 20, been very impressive. 5 steals in any game is incredibly impressive.
8 assists, 14 rebounds.
Yeah.
Like you said, you just take, what do you want? Which one do you want?
He almost had a triple-double. Yeah. Couldn't, almost makes you get mad as his teammates. You guys couldn't have made 2 more of those buckets to get him a triple-double with 5 steals.
He's 17 of 18 from inside the arc, 0 for 2 from 3, 9 of 10 from the 90% from the free throw line, plus 28 on the field. Did turn it. Oh, well, let's get the blemish. Well, there's a blemish, Kev. He had 8 turnovers. He had 8 turnovers.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Okay. Now we're looking at a usage issue, boys.
Yep.
We got the balls in his hands too much. Okay. We gotta chill out here. No, the question I have for you based on that is I've been concerned about Jokic fatigue. LeBron, unfortunately, I will be one who will always say LeBron should have more MVPs than he has. And the problem has been we got so used to his greatness that it stopped impressing people, the people who matter, I guess, the people who vote. Are you worried about that with Jokic? Because that 100%. Stat sheet should be blowing minds until we got, except for like we do research for this show. It wasn't brought to my attention, right? This did not. Bol I saw on Twitter more than I saw Jokic.
Yeah, you saw the clip of Bol I sent you more than you saw
twice.
The stat line. Yeah, exactly.
But everybody's talking about that.
That's
but
what happens, man. Like, and I would agree with you that LeBron missed out on MVPs because of that. You see it with Steph. You see it with guys like Nikola. These guys that are so good for so long that you just start to take advantage of it. I've said it a lot about this era. The amount of great players in the NBA right now is unbelievable. There's so many. I would argue probably more than ever. But you just start to take it for granted. Like that dude had 43, 14, 8, and 5. There was no overtime. No overtime last night. Now, their head coach's comments were like, well, we didn't play any defense, so what's the matter? Like there was no the score was 141 to 128. But that's insane. Like, and we're just like you said, it's just become just casual. It's expected. Like
well, of course he almost had a triple-double.
Yeah, like what? No.
Yeah, it's like we are salivating as a collective over the premise of Victor Wembanyama, and it's like we have it. Like Denver literally has it at home, but they have a more seasoned, or if you're a drinker, they have one that's been aging in a barrel for years. You know what I mean? Where it's like, well, yeah, you guys are daydreaming.
He doesn't look it. He looks a little overweight. He looks a little slow. Like he doesn't fit the bill. He's not near as flash. If you show me the Joker highlights, his scoring highlights compared to Wembanyama, you're absolutely going to go to Wembanyama. But then you start to watch his passes. He threw a split cut pass backdoor last night that was disgusting. Defense was nowhere to be found, obviously, but it's there are very few guys in the league that can do that.
Yep.
And at that size, it's even a smaller number. And you just take advantage. You just take it for granted.
And it's so deadly because you can at that height and that size, the different angles, you can see everything.
Gross, yeah.
And when you have the hand-eye coordination that he has and can do the passes, the things that he can do, it becomes just completely unstoppable. And Jokic is a guy in a different era. He would be undoubtedly the face of think about this guy in the 90s when there was Hakeem, Ewing.
Oh my God.
Jokic would have been all over the place. He would have been on the NBA on NBC little thing. You know what I mean? Like there was an era where he would have fit perfectly and he might have, I dare I say he would have done very well even against that competition.
Yeah,
I do think so. It's not like he is a flashy guy who operates in a lot of space who wouldn't have been able to deal with the clothesline 90s. No, he'd have been fine. As you said, he's not a fast, overly, he doesn't wow you with his athleticism visually. It's up here. It's the skill set that he has. I am at this point where I am afraid, if, not to be overly dramatic, but for Jokic, that we are going to start to not appreciate what he's been doing because he's just doing it at an amazing rate. And I want to see. Oh, go ahead.
No, they need to make a playoff run. That's that now that they're not healthy because Michael Porter Jr. is still missing games because of his back, but Jamal Murray is back. Like a serious playoff run would really help them as a franchise, and for people to really, the casual observer, to understand how good he really is. Obviously, they were really good 2 years ago, and Jamal Murray tore his ACL in the playoffs. That cost him all of last season, so they were still good. I mean, Jokic won the MVP last year. However, he was hurt. Porter Jr. was hurt. The problem is Porter Jr. has perennially been hurt since he was in college. You can't guarantee he's going to be around at all. But they did add Aaron Gordon last year, so Murray and Gordon, this is their first full season together. Like a playoff run would be huge for these guys.
Absolutely. And you saw what it did. You mentioned as far as the casual fans go, look at what it did for Phoenix. A couple of deep runs. That is no longer just an NBA fan. It's not just us deeper fans that know about the Suns, right? The Suns are more of a household name now. Some of that has helped with the personalities, the players that they have there. But I would say it was being when you're one of the last 4 teams playing a couple years in a row, you get a lot more eyeballs on you. And then then the league pays more attention, media pays more attention. So you're 100% right. Denver makes it to a conference finals. Maybe all of a sudden we have a new appreciation for this man. They're
the 3 seed right now. They're right there. They're 1 game back from the Pelicans in Memphis. So that would put them they're top 5 in the league.
Yeah.
Behind Boston, Milwaukee, Pelicans, Grizzlies.
Another team, like you've said, it's been so long since we've seen. Before Jamal Murray got hurt, it's easy to forget the narrative that was around those two. Like that was a dynamic duo. Yes.
And that
Jamal
was
Murray in the bubble, did he not?
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was when Michael Porter Jr., when he wasn't hurt. So they were all playing, and it was, like you said, the dynamic, the talk of them, like they were on the up and up. They had those really good series with Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell where they would beat in the playoffs, and they were like, Jamal Murray was great.
That's right. Yeah. Like he was the one. We talk about Jokic not getting his due. So much so to the fact that when they were having that series, it was Murray was the one that people were talking about. And people forget that. Like
killing it. Yes.
If he can go back to that, this team they have 2 superstars. Like this isn't just a role player that they've been missing, a key cog. No, like this is a guy who at one point, here's a guy. Sorry, Chris Collinsworth slipped in there, but that here's a guy who has superstar potential that this could really put the Nuggets back on the map. And as we're talking about those superstar guys may or may not be getting their due. There's another score on here. Cleveland took down Dallas. And there was a clip I was not able to grab in time for this, but maybe you saw it. It featured Luka driving to the basket and firing an around the back pass between 2 defenders to hit, I believe it was Finney Smith, maybe Tim Hardaway Jr. in the corner. He was like posting up on the other side of the basket.
I did not see this clip.
And he fires it, no look behind his back, splits 2 defenders and gets it to the opposite corner.
Unbelievable. Right? He's an unbelievable passer.
Yeah, man. He's on the wrong side of the rim. Like he's posted up. He's on the block essentially.
Yep.
Completely 3/4 of the court of the half, and hits the guy in stride. And of course, it's fumbled. The highlight wasn't.
Cool. I mean,
perfect, the pass is perfect. He wasn't expecting it. Probably.
You never expect hit you in the face.
Yeah.
What do we have to do to get Luka some help? What do we have to do?
I noticed when I looked at that, I'm maybe behind a little bit on this. I was shocked to find that Christian Wood's coming off the bench.
I think he's been coming off the bench all year, if I'm right. I think I had that moment earlier in the year.
They're big,
I believe he's been coming off the bench.
And so that forgive me for my ignorance there. But it just, when I saw that, correct me if I'm wrong, was that not their biggest acquisition of the year?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was. Yes.
Okay.
And I'm looking it up right now to see if I'm right on that stat, but I believe I am. Yeah, 25 games this year. He started once.
started one, and I'm not necessarily here to make the argument that he should be started, but I can't. I don't even know who. Do you have their lineups pulled up in front?
I
Like,
pulled up the game from last night,
Yeah.
and it looks. I don't know if these were. I believe these were. Yes, it is a starter. So it was Dorian Finney-Smith, Tim Hardaway Jr., Dwight Powell, Spencer Dinwiddie, Luka Doncic. Luka had 30. The rest of the starting lineup had 24.
Yeah, which Tim Hardaway Jr. has been. I mean, he's been a bit streaky, but he's been the second option for the most part of
Traditionally, yeah.
the last couple weeks too.
Mhm.
He's been, but that I don't know that that's
I
going to be
don't know.
enough
I don't
to.
understand it.
But when
They
I see
just-
that lineup, I think like it's small, right? And that's why I was asking, because I don't know at what point don't you just try Christian Wood in the starting lineup? Like, it just seems like a really
agree,
small
like,
lineup for me.
Yeah, I don't understand. Again, I don't know. I don't know what it is. They're just so limited. Like with Brunson leaving, they couldn't keep him. Trading Kristaps could never stay healthy for him when he played for him. Luka has never had a true sidekick. He really wanted it to be Kristaps and him. It looked like it could be awesome, and it never panned out. And they're 14-14. Luka's just carrying them. And I mean, he played 39 minutes last night. That's a lot, man.
Yeah, it's right back to the same issue. He's got the
Yep.
same problem that LeBron and AD have. There's not enough around him. He's gonna have to play too long.
Yeah.
So when the playoffs come, he'll have his moments. He's Luka. He'll get up for a couple moments, but there's no way he can make a significant run playing multiple 7-game series by himself.
No.
And we talk about other things. To me, it's sort of it's time for a no half measures situation. Look at their most recent addition was Kemba Walker. I'm not certain that he plays at all.
Didn't play last night.
Let's say didn't play last night.
As he suited up. I know I forgot about that.
Don't think he played on Wednesday or last night. Don't think he played earlier in the week.
He's 32. He played December 10th against. They got blown out by Chicago. He played 20 minutes. It's the only game he's played so far. I mean, he's no offense to Kemba here when I say he's older, 32. He's not a young guy anymore.
No, I'm not suggesting they should have played him. Just to be clear, I'm suggesting that there was no point in signing him.
Yeah, you might be right. He's plenty of years removed. I mean, his biggest year was 18-19 for Charlotte was his last major year at 25 a game. That was 5 seasons ago. We played the 2 seasons in Boston. Those were up and down. He's been hurt a lot. He hasn't played an 82-game season since 18-19. Like, what is he? Obviously, he must not have a ton left in the tank because he's not even playing.
Yeah. And that's what happens with the scoring first point guards when they get old, because when you're not explosive enough to beat the guy in front of you,
correct,
and you're not efficient at running an offense and making those decisions, what use are you? Have no use off as a rotation player, because your job off the bench is going to be to run that offense, make good decisions. So if you've just been relying on your skill set for 10 years, you're gonna just fall off a cliff in the NBA.
You're seeing it with Zach LaVine struggling with his athleticism this year because of his offseason knee surgery, where he's struggling to finish at the rim. Like, when you lose that and that's your big thing, like look how much different Russell Westbrook is now compared to 5 years ago. He got into the rim, he was going to two-handed tomahawk smash your head. Like, he's dunking that ball. It goes for everybody, but when that is your calling card, it becomes exaggerated down when you get older because you don't have that anymore.
And you got to adjust. Yeah, like old Wayne Gretzky would say, you got to go where the puck is going.
Yep.
You don't just if you don't get ahead of it, you'll be behind it.
Correct.
So we've talked about. I have a little one in here. Because we mentioned it a couple weeks ago when there were only 2 players in the league that were averaging over 4 made 3-pointers a game, right? Well, the last time I checked, there were now 3, and 2 of them reside in Portland. So Dame Lillard has joined Anthony Simons. They are still a scorching, I do believe.
Yeah, they shoot the ball, folks.
Hot. Where are they at in the standings right now? I'm about to pull it up.
I was just pulling it up. I was flipping tabs, so that was my next comment. They're 4th in the West at 16-12, tied with Phoenix. They are ahead of them, so they're 4th. They would host a playoff game right now.
Yeah, and there we have the splits. I
Post-playoff
got it
series, not a
pulled
game.
up. Yeah. They're on the right side. Some of these trends right now.
Won 3 in a row.
My question for you is, are you a believer in this Portland team?
Man. I think so. I think I am. Like, the numbers are staggering. When you sent me like that was going to be one of our topics, I did doing the research, ran down that rabbit hole, and the numbers are nuts. They're shooting 39% from 3 as a team. That's
Pretty good.
impressive. Lillard's shooting 40% on 11.3 attempts per game. So there's your over 4 game. Anthony is averaging, he's got 39.3% on 10.3 attempts per game. There's his. And then Jerami Grant is averaging 44.8% on 6 attempts a game.
Oh, dang.
They got like they're loaded. Like, it's so weirdest. They're shooting the cover off the ball. And you'd think there'd be a negative regression at some point, that they'd regress back towards the mean. However, we're 28 games into the season. We're between a quarter and a third of the way through, and they're doing it. They're doing it.
Yeah, their regression just may be. I still believe it will happen.
Maybe
but
a little regret. Like,
it's not. Yeah, I think this might be close to where their floor is.
Yeah.
Which props to Jerami Grant, by the way, because not that this is brand new. Like, I've been paying attention, but a few years ago, that was not a part of his game, and now he's shooting at that efficient of a clip. So it's something he's worked on over the years, and now he's a weapon. And which just goes back to what we were just talking about. It can be done. There was a guy who understood I cannot just be a 6'9" athletic freak of nature my entire career. If I want to extend this, I should get some polish, develop a jump shot, and look at him now. So
his
it can be
career. Sometime we're going to go deep in. We may go deep into that someday. If for anybody that doesn't know, we're talking about Brook Lopez, and I sent Kev his stats the other day, and I went, I cannot believe this is real. It's like his first 4 to 5 seasons, he averages under a 3 attempt, under like half a 3 a game. Yeah. And he is just blown up. It's the most important piece of his game now. I really want to go back and watch games from his early seasons and just be like, who is this dude?
Yeah, it's such, and that, like, we were talking about this pre-show, and I think Brook Lopez is in such a weird position where you can watch the evolution of the game of basketball through the lens of his career.
Yes. It's so weird. Like, you're absolutely right. You can watch the evolution of basketball through his career and how he did not get left behind. Because if he was still today the player he was his first couple of years, he wouldn't be playing for the Bucks. He would not be a starter on one of the best teams in the league. He'd be a backup, maybe a Steven Adams type guy. That's probably a good comparison. Not take away anything from Steven Adams, but just somebody that can't shoot, a bruiser, like, that's all he'd be.
I would argue
wild, man.
He might be lucky enough to be in a Steven Adams situation. I'd say
that's probably
more like a
correct
Dwight Howard sort of
towards the end of his career.
Yeah, just at this point, circling the drain, so to speak. A couple minutes here, a couple minutes there. I don't want to go all full Udonis Haslem level, but the Brook Lopez that didn't have an outside shot is playing maybe 8 to 11 minutes a night max in the league right now, and not having the sort of career renaissance. And there's other guys. I mean, Walt Williams for all you old heads out there, Vince Carter. There are a number of these guys that got so much longevity out of their career. But it's interesting to see a guy like Brook Lopez do it when you see these bigs that you never would have thought. I mean, I think coming into his career,
unbelievable. It's crazy.
You'd have told me he'd have been a proficient free throw shooter back then. I might have laughed.
Speaking of the Bucks, they are getting absolutely mauled by the Grizzlies right now. They're down 33 in the third quarter.
This might be a good time to just take a pause from our regularly scheduled programming and give the Grizzlies their due, because they came up earlier. They're top 4 team right now. We don't talk about them enough. We try to talk about everybody, and that's how does this keep happening to the Grizzlies?
We have not talked about them much. My goodness, they are up 85-52 right now. 8 minutes and 45 seconds left in the third quarter. They are blowing these dudes out.
That is unbelievable.
And Desmond Bain is still hurt, isn't he?
I would have to check that, but that is my
He has
understanding.
not played tonight, which makes me want to believe he is still hurt.
I tell you who's looked good since coming back,
He's
Jaren
missed 10 games.
Jackson. At least
Jaren
defensively.
Jaren Jackson's starting to play good. Yeah,
he's on my fantasy team. I've had multiple alerts.
Averaging 18.4 per game too. He's back.
And back probably trending towards the lead in blocks per game, I would guess, because he's been swatting a few of those.
What's he got? No blocks tonight.
No blocks tonight. Okay.
Very surprising. He's got 4 points and he's plus 17. So that's all I need to know about that game. Chris Middleton's 0 for 8. Our boy Brook Lopez 0 for 4 from 3.
Ooh, it's just gonna be one of those days.
Giannis has 8. Yeah, it's just one of those days.
The folks who don't like it when Memphis has a good time are going to be very upset. Stay off of Twitter tonight. It's going to be very annoying for you.
They are,
about to beat one of the other best teams in the league. So they're
good, man.
That could cause a little ruckus, which leads me to bring up this young man's photo.
All right, Kev.
I've got a little video.
That is a big dude.
For everyone. We've probably seen this at this point. Oh, so beautiful, in my opinion, which takes me to my question, James. Now, I'll set the stage for a second for those of you who missed this. This was 2 Pelicans Suns matchups ago. And there was about 4 seconds left when that happened. So there was no more shot clock. And you saw what happened. So Zion sent the fans home happy with a little dunk. Yes. And the Suns some of the Suns at least took exception to that. So before we start to play the blame game and the maybe you've been guilty of this before, so maybe you have no right to complain about it now. Let me just get your general take on this, James. As far as this particular unwritten rule, where do you stand on putting the ball in the basket in that where the game's over and the shot clock is out?
I hate those unwritten rules. Actually, in all sports, like if your scrubs want to try to score a touchdown in football, let them. Like, I don't care. My theory on it is if you don't want it to happen, then be the team up.
Yeah.
Like, and also in the NBA, it's 24-second shot clock, and I get like it's quick. And should he have dunked it there? I probably not. But he also did a wild dunk for the fans, and like if I'm Phoenix. So be it. Like, guess what? We just got killed. We just got beat up. Like, insult to injury. I'm just putting it in the bank, just using it as next time. I have no problem with it. I'm actually against it. I am against all the unwritten rules like that. Like, I don't care. Like, if you got your backups in and they want to shoot it, go ahead. Have fun.
Yep. I'm in full agreement with you on probably all of this. I am anti-unwritten rules in most major sports. I have been one of the loudest people in the baseball fandom to say, let people flip bats, let people show emotion. That's not what's ruining your game.
Yeah, it's not. Exactly. It's not what's ruining the game. Let the fans let them have fun. Like the NFL was bad about it with TD celebrations. Like, let them have their fun. I don't care if he flexes on somebody. I don't care.
Yeah, it's good entertainment. And also, I think it's worth mentioning they're the home team. He's doing it to send the home fans home happy. And to me, that's, again, people pay money for these seats.
I'm more for that than if he was on the road and did it.
Yeah.
I would find it more disrespectful if that was at Phoenix.
Yeah. At that point, that's where I would say, okay, Phoenix, you may have an argument. Then if I'm Phoenix,
I'm pissed.
Then I'm saying, okay, now you're showing me up.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's bulletin board material for me in that scenario. Yep. But when you're at home, it's, we're doing a little Globetrotters thing for the fans. Make the kids go home happy. Who are you really going to be upset about that? Then don't be the team that posts you're working out in your towel after every victory. You're out here posting. If it's good, if it's fine for you, then it's fine for them too. Like the Suns have done this in the playoffs. They've done this.
Like, this isn't like it. They do this. They've done this.
They've done this exact thing. Now they've done it. Now the one that I saw in the playoffs against the Pelicans. Now there was 30 seconds left in the game, so they couldn't dribble out the clock technically. Yep. But they yammed one home, I believe, in New Orleans in front of the Pelicans fans. So again, it's just
while beating them in the playoffs. Like, so not only have you done it, you've done it to that team. There's bad blood there, and then you want to complain and moan after the game, well, they shouldn't have done that.
Get back on defense.
Yeah, get back. Like,
Maybe,
I don't.
yeah.
I think of like the little kids that are there watching that game. They're there to see Zion, and they get to see that at the end. Like, bring it on. Come on.
Absolutely.
You know, like.
And I'm instantly as a Pacers fan, I thought of 2004. We joked about it last week with Ron Artest refusing to leave me alone. But and I just see stuff and I'm like, guys, come on. There's no reason to get into an altercation over a windmill. Like, the game's over. I don't know. I like the edge. I will say that. I love that for this rivalry that we're going to have and hopefully a future playoff matchup. But these unwritten rules, some of them I think are dumb. Now, meanwhile, there's another situation where I think maybe there's an unwritten rule that needs to be put in place. Now, I currently have there's a wanted poster out for this man. Have you seen this man? Recently dropped 33 on the head of the Indiana Pacers. So my argument's going to feel a little weaker today, James, but the point remains, despite the outcome, the Brooklyn Nets went into an opponent's arena and benched their 8 best players.
Not a single starter from the night before played.
And my question for you is, do the teams and or the owners of said teams have an obligation to the fans and to each other to at least make sure that there are enough players on the court to make it worth selling that ticket that you've sold?
I've always, I understand the quote unquote load management. I know you got to take care of guys. This, in my opinion, is overdoing it. They sat their top 8. And these are, it's in Indianapolis. There's paying fans. It's a big game. Brooklyn's coming in playing really good. The Pacers are trying to get over the hump. And you sit, they're top, they sat, not only did they sit Durant and Kyrie, they saw they're not a single starter from the night before played.
They sat TJ Warren, which I have mixed feelings about because he's got his injury history. And so on one hand, he's one of the guys you could say it makes sense. But also, it's his homecoming. He couldn't have thrown him out there for 5 minutes so he could have a nice little jumbotron welcome back and get a little.
I am very against it. I'm very against this. I always have been. They have to be healthy, and I think the NBA is really the only league that runs into this issue. They sit them a lot because of back-to-backs, et cetera, et cetera. But I get it if Kyrie's got to sit out because he's been hurt or KD's got to sit. I get it, but they sat 8 dudes.
Yeah.
They tried to throw that game away and the Pacers didn't let them.
Which is just embarrassing. Luckily for them, they've bounced back, but those are the kind of games we talked about it before with the Lakers. Those are the kind of games in your position you can't afford to lose. And when I see the Pacers lose that game, it's like, okay, well, any and all playoff hopes, we should just shelve them because you just lost to a team that sat half its players and they sat the best half. All of the best half. Is just insane to me. It was very unfortunate. You can't take teams like that for granted. But yeah, I don't know what the answer is, but I think there needs to be some
there's got to be
regulation here, a limit maybe to how many healthy scratches you can have on any given night. So that
because they were all healthy scratches.
They
were just announced out.
Just did not play, coach's decision, healthy rest. So let us know in the comments below, what do you think about unwritten rules? Is there one that you like? What are your general feelings on them? And also let us know if you have any questions. Who do you think is the top team in the West? Is it the Pelicans? Are the Pelicans rising up? Is it Memphis? We clearly over here seem to think that the top 2 teams reside in the East, but let us know and comment below. So what is next? What is next on my agenda here? This is fun. How about this? Let's a little palate cleanser. Let's take a step back. We can talk about something that's not serious at all because this has to be a joke, right, James? This is
It is. something. I'm pulling the same thing up.
Oh,
Oh
for those of you who
my!
can't read the screen, these are our NBA awards. All right. So, James,
I'm gonna get the good out of the way. Okay, I do like the Michael Jordan MVP trophy. I do like it.
you do.
I do. I do like it. I think it's weird and ridiculous that they have all the weird stats out for every little bend in his arm or scratch or whatever, like stands for something. I think that's weird.
That
I
is
do like that they gave Michael Jordan an award. I think I'm okay with that. However,
weird.
Kev, I didn't know the one award existed until you told me earlier, and I
Mhm.
rolled and I was like, "What are you talking about?" They have, okay, let's go. The Jerry West Trophy for NBA Clutch Player of the Year. What is this, Kev? What is that award? Would you explain this to me? What are we looking for here?
Well, as my half-baked Twitter rant implied, I believe that this is an award just for that. This is a Twitter award to me. This is a dumb award. What? How do you make the argument? Is it going to be based on statistics? So and so made X amount of tying baskets or baskets to take the lead in under 2 minutes. It just feels like, hey, we needed a new shiny thing to give to
Yeah.
people. I don't know.
I
I
do
don't
not
like it
like the
personally.
design. I don't like the design of them either. I do not like these crystallized with the players in them.
With
I
the little
don't.
action, it reminds me of what's that? A king
Yeah.
cake? What do they do in New Orleans where you got the little baby doll inside the cake and
Yeah.
it's like a little cheap plastic thing?
I
That's what,
don't like. Yeah. I don't like it. I
or a
agree. That's what it looks.
Dundee, for the Office fans.
It's weird. I don't like it. Like it.
I don't like
I don't
it.
like it. I'm also so I like that they gave Michael Jordan an award. I don't think I like that they named every one of them. And here's my
Okay.
argument against this.
Okay.
So you've got, for anybody that hasn't seen this, you got the Michael Jordan Trophy, the Jerry West Trophy, the Hakeem Olajuwon Trophy, Wilt Chamberlain Trophy, the John Havlicek Trophy, and the George Mikan Trophy. Okay, they're all stand for something that's been given out in the past, except
Mhm.
one. One's new. What happens in 25? Like hypothetically, like LeBron's going to finish as one of the greatest players ever. There's no argument there. And you already named all these. You can't give him one. Do you have to make another one? Like, I don't like naming them. Like,
Why'd you name one after a guy that hasn't played in 100 years that no one else knows, George Mikan? And also, I have to interject.
Nobody knows him
Right, no one
besides
knows who he is.
hardcore basketball fans.
While I have zero issues with Michael Jordan having an award named after him, I have to call out the blatant disrespect for one Mr. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who
Yeah.
has the most MVP awards of all time. Am I wrong
Mhm.
there? I'm sorry, I'm going to throw things here. I love Michael Jordan.
Yeah, like
I'm a Michael
I
Jordan
can hear that
stan.
argument. I agree. Yeah.
But yes, again, so what are we going to rename them after 20 years? I
But then
dislike
it gets
naming
then
them
it's
after
going to be
players
really
at all.
disrespectful. Like I actually take it back. I don't like that they named these. I take it back. I
Yep.
like that they gave Michael one, but now seeing all this, because here's my other question to you. Okay, so we announced, Kev, you win the Wilt Chamberlain Award.
Yeah, I
Do you
do.
know what the Wilt Chamberlain Award is? Because I wouldn't have been able to guess this.
Is it going to be it's probably going to be something weird like the Eastern Conference MVP or
Wrong. It is the Rookie of the Year Award.
Oh, really? It could have been
How do you
anything with
decide?
him.
How do you decide who gets that? Because every single year it's a different rookie that wins that award. So how
Yeah.
do you decide who's the best rookie? Like it's just like John Havlicek, great sixth man, but there's others like Lou
How you not
Williams,
gonna-
sixth man of the year forever.
Lou Williams would like a word.
Yeah.
Manu Ginobili would like a word.
Yeah, guys like that. This is Clutch Player of the Year. What a joke of an award. That's so stupid. I don't like it at all.
I'm not a big fan. I made the joke. The NBA announces the Brandon Jennings Award for the most random scoring outburst in the regular season. Let's just do it all. Let's throw it out there.
Should we? That's going to be our award. That's the Bounce official award this year, folks. We are putting this on record. We will at some point give out the Brandon Jennings Award for most ridiculous scoring outburst that nobody saw coming. We are putting that on the deck. We can declare it at any time. We don't have to wait till the end of the season. We can declare it at any time, and it is now on the board.
And I would like to nominate for future consideration the Jeremy Lin Award for the most random month that gets a guy the bag in the off season. Well, I'm sure we'll have one of those.
Mega's got a good comment there too.
Yes.
Spurs a few years ago were on the same train with resting players. They were one of the first teams to start it.
It's your
Kawhi
fault,
was a part of
Greg.
that.
Mr.
Thanks, Pop.
Mr.
Thanks, Bud.
Popovich. Yeah, that is a good point. It has been on the radar for some time, and I think this is where maybe Brooklyn has jumped the shark, so to speak. They've maybe pushed the limits.
I think there's
a little bit.
limit, and they pushed the limit too far. Because there's a paying, like if you're like my perfect example is you take your son to the game. I don't know if Kevin has kids. I'm gonna say he does. Hypothetical here. It's my world.
All over the place. Yeah.
But if you take your kid to the game and he's a Brooklyn Nets fan and he wants to see Kyrie and Durant and God, who knows, maybe he wants to see some other starter. Who knows? Maybe just like some of the random guys. And then they sit out their top 8. And that's
their top 8
for a normal family. Like they can't go to a ton of games per year. They're expensive. Oof.
That's especially in these smaller market, middle market NBA cities. Like it's exactly what you said it was. These are the type of games that get circled at home that the Lakers are in town.
Marquee matchups, yes.
These kids, they don't get to watch their own team on TV most of the time. So they're watching Jason Tatum and Chris Paul and Kevin Durant on TV. And then they get the opportunity to go see him and they find out the tickets are already purchased. You find out the night before, the
Nets announced this
players
right before the game too. It sounds like it wasn't even announced the night before; it was in the afternoon before the game. So they're done. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. I don't approve. Like speaking of unwritten rules, I said I hate them all. I take that back. There is I do not, from a competitive standpoint. Like if this was if this was the Pistons or somebody, they would get fined for tanking.
Hey, right.
So it's okay because they're good.
Right. There is a weird line. Like where do you draw that line? Now I would say I still stand by my take on unwritten rules. But I just think this just needs to be a written rule. We just need to figure this out. Maybe it's the rotation. Meg would like to point out that James, you can just say that you're a hater. So I'll say it. I'm jealous of Popovich. Always have been.
He's fantastic. I do not.
And you're welcome for Kawhi, Meg. You're welcome.
Pop is he was so good.
For George Hill. I lose sleep at night. No offense to George. No offense, Mr. Hill. Anyway.
What a trade, huh? That one didn't work out for you, bud.
It
just broke your heart and left like they all do. Nobody stays with the Pacers. Just leave.
Oh my goodness. Now we've talked about you know what? Let's switch it over. What do we got here? See? Hey, I'm sorry. We're in the same club of pain, I guess. That's how I feel. That's how I feel when I watch Paul George hit a game winner. Actually, no, I feel pretty good about that. The Pacers have won that deal over the years. But let's take a look before we dive back into the standings out in the West. I have some questions for you about the Pelicans and the Suns. They seem to be on opposite ends of the rising spectrum here. But I wish we had a soundbite for this. Bum, 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 bum. Wemby watch. That's a stolen soundbite. I'm going to get a
Wemby watch.
Come on, Wemby. Pull it up. Here it is. So a lot of tip slams on this one. Just gonna throw it out there.
I mean,
he's
huge.
Whoop.
Like, what do you expect? I don't know what it's like up there, but he does. I've never been up that high.
And that's a nice little, I guess. I don't know if he got a piece of that, but watch him get out on the break. That's the part.
He's so fluid. He moves so well. Like, you're not supposed to be able to move like that.
Oh, my.
At that height, it's disgusting.
Goodness. So Wemby still looking good, still looking like he's all that. Now, I will just remind you, though, Orlando fans, you are in for some treats, and I guess we had a little slow start.
He's already in the NBA. I'm telling you. Woo! This is the clip that I watched 7 million times.
I've got a widescreen version. That's the vertical. I've got this saved on my external hard drive. I've been collecting bowl. I cannot wait for the bowl highlight reel at the end of the year.
So all right, the bowl highlights. We'll definitely have those. All right, Kev. In your opinion, who is leading the Wemby watch? I have a new front runner. I made a new front runner today.
You made
a
a
new team I think is going to get him.
Let's
Based on who's going to end up with the worst record. Obviously, the ping pong balls are going to fall how they may.
Let's take a look here as I chew on this one. We've got the Hornets down there. If you can only see
They're
half, they have
bad.
7 wins. We were called out by their coach. What was that, last night, the night before?
Mm-hmm.
As long as all we care about is how many points we score, we won't win games. But
Yep.
I don't know.
LaMelo Ball just came back I think that's his first game all season, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's going to be big to have.
He threw
him
a
back.
wicked. He's going to end up on our highlights. He threw a wicked pass from the right wing to the corner. It was wild.
And there we have friend of the show, San Antonio Spurs down there, 9-19, and the Rockets 9-18. Okay, so my favorite right now is going to be Charlotte, but who is it that you see, James? I think I know who it is, so I'm going to leave this
with the announcement that Cade Cunningham is going under the knife, is going to miss the season. My new favorite to get the best odds at the number 1 draft pick is the Detroit Pistons. Cade Cunningham is missing the rest of the season. He's having surgery on it's his shin or something goofy. Where is that at? Let's pull that up. Yeah.
That is going to be.
So they're losing the number 1 draft pick from 2 years ago. They're probably their best player.
Ivy's missed
now
some
Bogey's
time.
going to go wild. Ivy's missed time.
They are going to be so filthy. So I joked about this during the draft last year that the 2025 NBA Finals, the Thunder versus Pistons, was going to be an amazing matchup here in a few years. But
and it's starting to look like that's a real thing.
Yeah, because just to remind those of you at home who have forgotten, and it's easy to do in this 24-hour news cycle, but Chet Holmgren at some point will come back and play in Oklahoma City.
We joke about 7-footers doing wild things. There's a guy that's not playing this year that played in college ranks for Gonzaga last year that was stellar.
Yeah, last year's Victor hasn't touched the court, and we've forgotten about him because Paolo has played so well and Mathurin's played so well, and it's completely fair. Like it's a what have you done for me lately league.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Let's not forget
in an injury that doesn't sound like it. It's just it is what it is. It's not something that's going to linger long term. I think it was a foot injury or something, but it's not going to be a problem long term. It'll be fine. He's just going to miss this year. So you're talking about Wemby and him both being rookies next year. There's some weird things going on in the league. Like players are they're getting huge and fast and really skilled.
Yeah, it's crazy, and we're gonna have just incredible matchups to watch over the year. It's such a great time to be an NBA fan. If you're just casually watching the sport, now would be a good time to start investing and pick a team, or better yet, don't pick a team yet. Just start watching the league.
The Thunder have to be salivating. The Thunder, their fans, because they are going to end up in the lottery again. However, Shea is playing, probably going to win. He's going to be in the running for most improved player.
Yep.
Like he is,
which is saying something.
Saying
something about his leap, because he was not bad last year. He was not a bad player by any means, but he's so good this year.
Stellar this year. He's absolutely stellar this year. They've got so many picks loaded up on, not just theirs. They've got other people's from all the trades they made. They've got Chet sitting in the wings who has to sit out this year. They are going to be
a lot of nice pieces
really
over there too.
Good.
Yeah. Going to be absolutely dynamite to watch in the Western standings in the future. But right now, as we look at these standings, we got a couple of names, as we've talked about, that I don't think I saw as number 1 and number 2 and a lot of early season prognosticator rankings. What about you? Did you have Pelicans and Grizzlies as your 1 and 2 in the West at this point?
Grizzlies doesn't surprise me. The way they played in the playoffs last year, they went out when Ja got hurt. They're young. They got some fire to them. That doesn't surprise me at all. That doesn't surprise me. And they've taken big jumps. Desmond Bane's taken another big jump. Not surprising at all. Well, good news for Meg is the Spurs are in the running. They're one of those teams in the lottery. They could use a pick.
have a bright future. While
Yes.
we appreciate it, absolutely, yeah. If
Yep.
you're throw your favorite team out there, if you want to give new fans now, I personally would never suggest being a Pacers fan because despite how bright the future looks, it's been a long and bumpy road. So I would
Mm-hmm.
say, you know, you don't want any of this. There are calmer waters than
No.
these. Go find somewhere else to sail. But yes, while we were kidding, had to throw that out there. We appreciate the feedback, Meg. So we were talking about the Grizzlies, correct, in the
Yep.
standings.
Talking the Grizzlies, they are not surprising. The Pelicans do surprise me. Now, they have been
Yes.
loaded up. They have young talent. Obviously, Zion missed all last year. They're currently tied for the 1 seed, 18-9. They're tied with Memphis. They are currently the 1. They had a 7-game winning streak snapped by the Jazz on Tuesday. Our resident Jazz, who officially looks like they're in. They're going to try this. Zion's playing out of his mind. He's got 7 straight games over 25 points. And Kev, did you know they are doing this all without Brandon Ingram, who has missed the last 8 games and is probably going to miss the next week?
Yes, indeed. In fact, that was why I am confident in my argument that the Pelicans are, in fact, the team to beat in the West as it stands right
They
now.
are good,
Because
man. They're good.
one could argue, and I may or may not be that one, that the Pelicans are doing all this without their best player. And I know that's not maybe the popular opinion. I know we all love Zion. I do too. Brandon Ingram is that dude.
Good. He's so
Is
good.
that dude. Go watch. I've posted these highlights before. More talented people than I have done the side-by-side edits where it's Kobe and Ingram. And he's another one of those guys from that generation who practiced by watching Kobe tape and emulating the moves, except he's almost 6'10", doing Kobe Bryant moves.
Yep. Again, another guy that's huge and doing things he shouldn't be doing.
We saw the Tatum pull-up, the turnaround we showed earlier. Ingram has that in his bag multiple times a game.
Yep.
No, you cannot. There is nothing you can do unless you yourself are 7'10". Luke Cornett can't do anything to contest that jumper. All right, even him jumping from 20 feet away is not stopping Brandon Ingram. It won't work. So for that reason, there may be a bit of an adjustment when he comes back because they played so well without him.
Yeah, there probably is going to be a little bit. CJ McCollum's playing really good in his last 3. 14, 29, 18. He's got 3 great in the overtime win against Phoenix. He had 29. You always forget he's on the team.
Valanciunas is I'd be very happy to have him as the 4th option on my team, especially he's cleaning the glass. Alvarado, has really stepped up his game. He's not just the annoying guy stealing the ball. He's still very much that guy, but he had 20 the other night against the Suns. So
they've got young guys. They've got Dyson Daniels.
They have guys that aren't even playing. Yes,
he had 7 points the other night. And then don't forget, Kev, like we can talk about him for this year, but they are in line to inherit the Lakers lottery pick. When the Lakers, if they don't get it figured out, they get that pick because of the Anthony Davis trade.
And now maybe those of you who saw the thumbnail or the title are starting to get why I titled this episode as such. Does this not? Do you get the sense? You get where the new era of the NBA is coming? We have the Pelicans. We have the Thunder. We have the Pistons. We have these, some of these teams aren't good right now, but you can see it. There's so much talent on that roster. It's hard to imagine that they won't be good. We have the Lakers who are a year or two away from being a lottery team. There's no way around that for them at this point. I don't see them trading their way out of this inevitable rebuild. So we're going to have this changing of the guards, so to speak, and it's very exciting time right now.
Then you're watching. So you've got all these teams. The Oklahoma City Thunder made it popular to strip your roster down, trade it, and get as many picks as possible. They've been the king at that, and they look. Of all the teams, they're the ones that look like they have the brightest future from a talent perspective, what they've accumulated. You then got a team like the Jazz who did that, but didn't trade everything and are just good enough. They're 16-14, still in the playoff race, and they're going to get some great picks. There's an interesting case study to be had here.
Yep.
Is there a better way to do this? I don't know. I'm not one. I'm not paid enough money. I'm not smart enough. I don't know the intricacies of all this. If there's a better route to go, it's just interesting is the best way to put it.
Yeah, and we'll see all the options because to throw the Pacers in the mix too, they're in a very
Mhm.
similar boat as the
They are.
Jazz
I would
because
argue they're very similar. Yes.
3 first-round picks this year, the Pacers. So despite my frustration with them being in the middle of the pack,
Whose picks do they have?
they're
I
going
don't.
to have they have the Cavs pick, and then they have I think it's Brooklyn,
Mhm.
from the Harden
Karis
trade.
LeVert.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
they
that was
have
a
the
3-teamer. That makes yeah.
Yep, and then they have the Cavs trade from sending Karis LeVert to Cleveland.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, so they still have 3 picks, so you could, in theory, always still move up. So yeah, we've
Package and move
got
up. Absolutely.
a
Yep.
few different teams in the lab, so to speak, this year where we can see, okay, now again, I'm going to stand by my stance of you can get a Danny Granger at 17. You just don't get him every year. He's not there every year. Just like, Manu Ginobili's and Andrew Nemhards. You don't get talent in the first picks this second round every year. Yeah, it's there. It can be done. But you're better off being in the lottery and rebuilding.
Having a shot at one of those top 10 picks in those players. Those higher percentages, those players are going to pan out.
And then you can, because it's easier. It's easier to find those role players than it is, because you look at Utah, you look at Indiana, and you say, okay, well, wow, they have a lot of pieces. I would argue it's easier to get those pieces than it is to get the centerpiece. You want to get the centerpiece and then build pieces around him. Ask Rob Pelinka how it works when you don't have complementary pieces that fit well around your centerpiece. He might tell you he thinks it's working fine, but it's not. Go ask the tape, I guess. Don't ask Rob Pelinka.
I just got to tell you what the record is. It's 11-16. That's all you need to know.
We've all become general managers thanks to NBA 2K and watching LeBron James for 20 years. We know now, okay, it's not a one size fits all.
The blueprint for LeBron to win has always been load up shooters. The Cavs did it. They did it 1 year with the Lakers. Like, it's never changed. He's one of the best passers the game's ever seen, and he gets lanes clogged up when there's people in there that can't shoot the ball. Exactly. We've seen every variation of teams try to build around him, and there's one that always works.
Yep. History, I would love to hear it. Let me know in the comments if you can think of this, but so rarely do you see, the team has been built and we add this one superstar into a machine. I guess people might say Kevin Durant, but again, you're adding Kevin Durant to a 72-win team. I don't include that in this.
Correct.
Kevin Durant was not needed. He was superfluous in that situation.
I agree.
So that doesn't count for me. So yeah, I think there's a way to do it, and we'll see. Hopefully the Pacers at least prove me wrong, because I am so tired of one and dones in the playoffs from my team. But I think the folks out in Phoenix maybe can relate to me. They've had some frustration.
Yes.
Always a bridesmaid, never a bride, however you want to say it. But
yep.
If the Pelicans are rising out west, James, dare I ask, are the Phoenix Suns setting out west?
I believe so. They've lost 5 straight, including a loss to the Rockets. Booker has missed 2 straight games with hamstring tightness. 3 games before that, he was just averaging 14 points a game on 15 of 47 from the field, so he was struggling. They did add CP3 back to the mix, but he's been up and down. Obviously, they had a tumultuous offseason of DeAndre Ayton stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I think we're starting to see they came in hot to the season, and it was like, all right, they just never missed a beat. They've rebounded from their playoff exit. It doesn't look that way right now. It does not look that way. I'd be worried if I was them.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you here. And you mentioned the one that was what sold me, and that was the loss to Houston.
Mm-hmm. It's bad. It's a bad loss.
Yeah,
it's a bad win for Houston too. So Houston, you're not trying to win. Stop it.
Exactly. Yeah, Houston, what are you doing letting that happen? But more importantly, yeah, Phoenix, how can you be the team that you've been over the last couple of years and let that happen? And again, it just somehow, some way, and I'm not inside that locker room, I can't tell you the why. I can just tell you what it looks like to me.
It turns so fast on them too, man. They've lost 6 of their last 7, and before that, they had won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They had won 6 in a row. It
They're
turned
they're
fast.
not focused somehow, some way. Like that. Go back to that Zion thing.
Yeah, like
That doesn't get to a team that's on point. It just doesn't.
yeah.
It
I'd be
gets to you to
worried.
some degree, but I don't think you have the situation that you had play out for a team that's confident in who they are and what
Yeah.
they're doing.
Devin Booker's going to miss the next two. As I'm pulling up things here, he's going to miss the next two as well.
And
So
he
you're
was
missing your best player, and he wasn't great. And that is the hamstring that bothered him in the playoffs last year. Their next two against the Clippers and the Pelicans, that could be another 2 losses.
likely at this point. I mean, we haven't talked about the Clippers as much today, but they knock on wood, I believe, are still relatively healthy. It's amazing, and I almost feel like I'm talking trash about them, but it's crazy to think that almost 2 weeks have gone by and Kawhi and Paul George are both healthy still. It's like, no, really?
Right.
Wow.
Knocking on wood here.
Wow. They make it a month, I might buy a lottery ticket. Holy crap, man.
17 and 13 right now, 1-3 in a row. Watch out.
I will not be surprised. I have been waiting for years, like since this happened. The Clippers, man, they just seem like a team. If it weren't for the health issues,
Yeah.
it's too easy to forget about the Clippers, and we can't rule them out as a team that could be playing in the Western Conference
But the
Finals this
problem,
year.
like you said, like what have you done for me now? Kawhi missed all of last year. Paul George missed a bunch last year. 2 years ago, Kawhi gets hurt in the playoffs. They've I don't know the stat. It'd be a good one to look. I don't know. They rarely play together.
Oh yeah. Oh god, that lineup sheet. I'm sure I wouldn't even want to look over how many. Can you imagine how many lineups the LA Clippers have played in the last 2 years? Because it's not just those two. Norman Powell misses a lot of time. He's frequently banged up. So yeah, that would be horrible. But so I do tend to agree with you. I think the Suns now, there's a lot of talent there. I think there's plenty of opportunity for them to go back up. But I think their time as a powerhouse out west as one of the top 2 seeds is over. Chris Paul, I think too much is gone. And Ayton, I don't
There's
think is
so
very
much
happy.
young blood at the top there. You've got the Pelicans, the Grizzlies, both young teams. 3 seeds, the Nuggets, which is Jokic, the back-to-back MVP. Trailblazers currently sitting 4th. Suns got the 5 seed. The Clippers are floating right behind them. The Kings are young. Golden State's down there still. God knows what's about to happen to them the next 3 weeks without Steph, who hurt his shoulder. I don't know, man.
At this rate, I don't know that Dallas couldn't beat Phoenix in a best of 7, and that's not necessarily high praise of Dallas. We roll back the tape if you're joining us late. We said a little bit about Dallas, so I'm not feeling great about Phoenix, but what I am feeling great about is this weekend slate of games that we've got coming up. We could start with Friday here, so there's a couple of good ones here. Obviously, we know the one that sticks out to me, which would be Indiana at Cleveland at 7:30. But that 7:30 hour, honestly, I like all 3 of those matchups. And
I had
stuff at 8 too.
It's the same one I had down as the Indiana Cleveland game. That's a lot of fun. The 7:30 Golden State Philadelphia matchup has lost a little bit of luster. For anybody that doesn't know, Steph Curry hurt his non-shooting shoulder yesterday. He's going to miss a few weeks, is the quotation mark. That's what they said. Don't know how long. Didn't say exactly what it was. Yeah, that Indiana-Cleveland matchup's fun.
Yeah, you were talking about that Curry injury and you had a little bit of insight. Didn't you say you had seen something
I have
like
seen
that
the
before?
same exact. So our best player last year, Tyreek Key, who is now at Tennessee playing for them, he did the same thing. It looks identical. What he does is they swipe down at the ball and the ball comes up. It hits in an odd angle and it's called a sublux. It pops their shoulder. It doesn't dislocate. It comes in and out real quick. With Tyreek, he had to have season-ending surgery because of it, but he had it happen multiple times. It was also on his shooting shoulder. Steph's is on his off shoulder. It's his non-shooting shoulder, so it's a little bit different. And I also, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't ever remember him having a shoulder injury before. He's always had ankle, feet injuries, but never a shoulder injury, right?
Nothing's coming to mind. I do believe it's mainly been lower body stuff. Lots with the ankles.
Yeah.
I don't think there's been anything big with the shoulder.
That's what I thought. It's just such a weird injury because if you watch it and you see it, it doesn't look like anything happens. So he's swiping down, he hits the ball. What happens is they meet like perfect. The ball's coming up, he hits it perfectly, doesn't swipe off, and it just shoots it up his shoulder, and it just pops it out real in and out. It's called a sublux, and that's what it looked like to me. The time frame sounds exactly the same. I would almost guarantee when he comes back in a few weeks, he's gonna have a sleeve on that shoulder. Like it looks exactly like
some of that tape too, maybe
tape or you've seen the guys that wear the huge wraps down to their elbows. You know, who knows? It's Steph. You never know with him. But there's a question for you, Kev. Are the Warriors done? They're not in a good spot from a standings point, and they're losing a guy that's got stats comparable to his MVP season outside of they just aren't winning as much.
And it has been well covered on this program, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this 12-2, 2-13 situation right here. But I'm going to spend a little time on it because to me, until they right that ship, I have to say yes. Playoff teams can't be 9 games below 500 on the road.
It's got to be the most drastic swing ever between a home record and a road record. They have as many losses at home as they have wins on the road, and it's not a ton of losses at home.
Yeah,
they have 2 losses. They're 12-2 at home, 2-13 on the road. That is unbelievable. And if I'm correct, they're in the middle of a road swing right now.
Yes, and it's incredibly uncharacteristic too, because this is not new in the NBA to see a team be very bad at home or on the road and very good at home. Look at the Charlotte Hornets for the last 3 years, but that's the thing. It happens to young, inexperienced teams. It's not supposed to happen to a team that has 3 potential Hall of Famers that
defending champions have won multiple titles. Yeah.
And now they do have a young, the Warriors are younger now than they've been in previous years. Like they do have that youth movement. They're trying to actively reload.
They're trying to sit in 2 different eras, and it's interesting where they're trying to still win, but they're also trying to start shifting and moving these young pieces in, and the results have been mixed at best.
Yep.
Now, their next 4, Kev, they're on the road at Philly, at Toronto, at New York, the Knicks, and at Brooklyn. That's tough.
Yeah, which one of those do you like? Yeah. I don't like them. I don't like them in any of those right now. Toronto
maybe the Knicks,
very resilient.
But not really. Like I do not like them against Philly on Friday.
If Steph was playing, I would love them against the Knicks and right, because it's Steph and Madison. But without that, maybe you'll get a 40-piece from Jordan Poole or something. But that's what I'm attributing to this.
And that's nobody else is playing great on that team. Steph's averaging over 30 a game, but everybody else is all over the place. Draymond Green got thrown out of the game the other night.
He's distracted, man. I was just about to say it, and then I was thinking about whether or not I was going to say it because I saw a clip of him where the referee was basically had to get Draymond to stop interacting with a fan.
He got that fan thrown out of the game. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see.
He was interacting with that fan, went down, came back, another foul, and he said something to the ref, and the ref threw the fan out of the game.
Which I think at that point had to be because it was impossible to get Draymond to stop talking to him. If you've seen the clip. At that point, I think it's for the ease of the game. I mean, who knows? Maybe the fan very well may have deserved it. I wouldn't doubt it based on what we've seen from other NBA fans. It's an unfortunate part of the game. That ticket price does not give you any sort of privileges. I don't know where people got that from. That you should.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from. Like, if you're in those seats, I actually really think you should be more mindful of what's coming out of your mouth and what you're saying and how you act. Like,
I also think a 3-time champion. It's easy for me to say from here, but I'm gonna say it anyway. What is some scrub in the third row? How is he getting under your skin? You're Draymond Green. You get under people's skins. You don't.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
What you think Dennis Rodman was gonna let some idiot in the fourth row?
Well, Dennis Rodman might have just punched him. Like
fair.
He might have just punched
fair. I'm just thinking of this, like Lance Stevens. This is what you do. You think Larry Bird or Reggie Miller is gonna lose? Like, I don't know. Just like it just feels. It feels like he is struggling with a lot right now.
Mm-hmm.
Whether I don't know whether it's off the court or if it's locker room stuff. The chemistry is off, and when you have someone, he's been a bit of a volatile leader, but you can't say Draymond Green has not been a leader for that team. You may not agree with his leadership style. You may not agree with a lot of his takes. I know I certainly don't, but he was a guy usually they could count on to kind of help huddle everybody up and rally around him. And now he's getting in fights with fans, and I don't know. It's something's wrong there.
John is correct. John is very correct with this statement. And we talked about it. The first show we did was what were the lingering effects going to be from that. And I don't know if there is or not. They do not look the same. They missed the guys that left. The young guys haven't filled in great. They've got guys struggling. Jordan Poole's all over the place. Clay's all over the place. Draymond doesn't look any good. Wiggs has been hurt. Wiggs is probably their second best player.
So is he still out?
I do not believe he played against the Pacers last night. Let's double check this, but I am pretty sure he missed that game. Let's take a look. He did not play. Yes, so he did not play. So he is still out.
Yeah, I would say, to take it back to your question, I am worried about the Warriors. They're still going to make the playoffs, in my opinion, but I don't.
Playing in that play-in game, there's so much random stuff. You saw them lose in that playoff game, the play-in game a couple of years ago.
Yep.
It's just so random. It's a lot different than a 7-game series. When it's a 1-game series, anything can happen, including for them. Steph could have 100, or he could miss everything.
That'd be awesome.
Wiggins, the most recent update came from today. Groin returned to practice Thursday. His return to play will be determined, but
it's so hard to call
progress. Groin, it's tough. He has only played in 22 games this year. They've played 39 or 29. So he's missed 7. He's missed a bunch.
Yeah, and in all reality, he should miss more because
you want him healthy. He hasn't played since December 3rd. You do not, especially with Steph out. Like, he's going to have to come back and shoulder a lot of the load. A lot of it will fall on Jordan Poole, Clay too. Those guys have to pick up the scoring, but the wild thing is, the last game Wiggs played, he had 36. Oof.
Yeah,
missed that. 8 of 10.
They need him.
Good Lord.
They need him, but geez, a groin is way too easy to re-aggravate. You got to play it safe with that, because you have enough experience where you should be able to figure it out and stay a 500 team at least until you get everybody back. And then again, it's just, can you make a run? Who's going to become available in the buyout market? I don't know how active they'll be when it comes to actually making
trades. They've got that
mega.
God, they've got that mega salary too.
That's why I'm saying the buyout market. Yeah, because when you're in that situation, now you get some veteran, league minimum exceptions. You can work. Plus, hey, that's not a team that is shy about paying a luxury tax. So we know that they will. They'll pay some players if they need to. So I would say, with that being said, so it doesn't sound like you like Golden State going into Philadelphia, a team that is slowly getting a little bit healthier.
Yep, Philly is starting to get healthy. Harden's back. The 76ers are dangerous. They won 3 in a row here. Joel Embiid had a monster game this last week. He had 53 and 12 against the Hornets. Like, he's that guy.
Yeah. Another guy, somehow we don't get to talk about him enough. Now, I got a quick question for you about him before we look at wrap up with some of the other games. I saw a tweet that referenced Joel Embiid stating that he knew the fans of Philadelphia wanted him traded. A, do you think there's any truth to that? And B, if you were a fan, would you want your MVP candidate traded, and why?
Want him traded? What is he talking about?
It was news to me. I couldn't understand it. It could have been a quote taken out of context for all that I know, but I saw a quote suggesting that he thought the fans were mad at him.
I don't live in Philadelphia. I don't know the fans there. Philly fans are wild. They're crazy. Eagles fans.
If there was ever a city to do it, it'd be them, right?
I can't imagine. Like, Kev, right now, if you were offered Joel Embiid for any player on the Pacers roster, would you take it?
Anyone not named Tyrese? Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's one of the best players in the NBA.
I mean, Matherin. I'm a little high on Matherin, but
That's just a
that's
homer thing.
just like, you got a brand new toy. Everything's still shiny.
Exactly.
So-
Just a
but
hypothetical scenario.
hypothetically,
There's very few people that wouldn't be like, if he's available, we should try to trade for him.
yeah, put him
That's
out in
all.
free agency and see how many teams
that's
offer. That's usually how yep.
That's so weird. That's interesting to me. So
Absurd. I think this team will get it right. I would love to see him healthy enough to make a real playoff run.
I agree. We haven't gotten that yet.
We need it. And speaking of health, we have Brooklyn at Toronto there at 7:30. Who knows who will be playing?
Well, maybe they play
for
them
either
all
team
or none.
Yeah, Toronto's been dealing with real injuries. Brooklyn just doesn't like. They just like to roll out half a squad sometimes. And we'll see.
But they win. So sorry, bud, but.
Yeah, Cam Thomas, look out. Who do you have in this one? You rolling with the home team or whoever?
I'm going to go. I'll go with Brooklyn off the rest. They rested all those guys for a reason, going north of the border. Toronto, like you said, all over the place. They've had guys hurt. They've struggled a little bit this year. So I'm going to ride with Brooklyn there.
Give me Toronto, and here's why. The Brooklyn Nets playing a JV squad against the Pacers and winning, and then rolling out all of their players to lose against a shorthanded Raptors team is like one of the most Brooklyn Nets things I can think of. So I'm going to go with Toronto on this one.
Okay, I'll give you that. Fair enough. So then, Kev, what's the next match? Are you looking at 8:30? You looking at 10? Is there anything else in the tree?
I think we'll go to 8:30 and 10. New York, Chicago is a matchup I would love to be more interested. I'd love to be more
interested in. Man, they're not good and they don't have draft capital. That's a tough spot to be in. Lonzo, there's no sign of him on the horizon. That knee is messed up, and tough one there for them.
It's a rough outcome looking for the Bulls. But I'd say Portland at Dallas. We have sort of two teams right near each other in the standings, but they're playing different brands of basketball, i.e. the Portland has a team and Dallas has Luka and the Funky Bunch.
One guy.
That being said, I think one guy at home could be enough to beat the Blazers.
It is. He's good. It is enough to win at home, but I'm going to go with the hot-handed Blazers. I think they're going to shoot them right out of the gym.
They are going to be. And look, and I will always.
I think they're sneaky good, man. I think they're sneaky good.
They are. And for the sake of new listeners, those of you who've been with us since the beginning, you've heard this name several times. But keep watching Shaedon Sharpe. They have a great luxury right now that they don't have to overplay him, and he likely won't hit the same rookie wall that other guys will. So all of a sudden, there's going to come a time
stretch when he hasn't played a ton and
he's
not burned out or hitting the wall.
Yep. Going to be real fun to see there. So, however, I am going to go against them. Let me see and go with Dallas, mainly just because I owe Christian Wood one because I hadn't been paying attention to his season. So I owe you one, bud. So let's go with Dallas. Denver at LA.
Two big teams. We're picking the same team, right? It's not a question.
We're all through that one.
Joker's gonna roll it.
Joker's gonna roll. Quick take here. Any games that you see, I'll just leave the screen up here for a minute or so. Saturday, Sunday matchups. What you got, James? Anything looking
Dallas, Cleveland's fun. The 8 o'clock Dallas, Cleveland's fun. Ooh, our resident Utah Jazz versus the Milwaukee Bucks.
That is a good
8
one.
PM. That is fun. Ooh, you got New Orleans and Phoenix have played a lot recently.
I know, we are blessed right now.
That's gonna be their third game in 10 days. That's probably must-watch TV because of the bad blood that's going on between them that we talked about earlier.
I would say so, yes. Which unfortunately, I don't know if it's on TV at this point, but
NBA TV is what I'm seeing.
I gotta love it.
We talked about this earlier about kids only being able to watch certain players and stuff. So moving to I guess, do you think New Orleans gets the three-peat? Do they sweep them? They get 3 wins on them?
Phoenix has to win this one. They have
to. Devin Booker's out for the next 2 games. I said they are playing tonight, so there's one. So he is probably out Saturday as well.
Yikes! Yeah, then it's got to be New Orleans.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a curse of the bounce thing. Phoenix is gonna win. I know it. I can't pick them. to win it, but they're going to win because logic dictates that the
Yep.
Pelicans should slam dunk this one. So yeah, of
You
course
move-
Phoenix will win.
Yep. You move to Sunday. Boston, Orlando's nothing. Indiana, New York's kind of fun. In a late afternoon game. Same level there.
do like
Golden
that
State,
one.
Toronto, kind of the same thing.
Yes,
Sunday is
Sunday's
a little
flat.
less. Sunday's
Sunday
pretty
is a
flat.
little
Yeah.
flat. You have that Washington at Lakers game for those of you who can't see it at the bottom. Yeah, the Pacers Knicks, that's a great rivalry historically speaking. You know, there's maybe some nostalgia there, but it hasn't been what it once was.
Been a while.
It's
been a
been
long
since
time.
Paul George and Carmelo Anthony, really, since there was like the rebirth, the renaissance of that. If those of you maybe remember the Roy Hibbert block that sealed, there was a really a couple of intense playoff series between them. But to really take it back, you got to go back to the 90s to think about the real good Knicks Pacers stuff. So I'll love it just because the teams are at least both good enough to be competitive.
Yeah,
it should be an entertaining
I would say
game.
it's the best Sunday game. Like, it'll be entertaining. They're both, like I said, they're both floating at 500 or just a little bit above, like trying to be in the playoff hunt. Good players. You know, Knicks have got Julius Randle. They've got Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett. We know who the Pacers got. We talk about them at length. Mather and Halliburton. I'm going to throw a bonus game at you. I'm going to throw a late night game tonight. Suns Clippers is tonight. Starts at 10:30. It's probably tipping off
right about now. Yes.
Suns at Clippers. Kev, give me your pick. Who you got?
Suns, unhealthy Suns at Clippers. I got to go Clippers. Man, I'm feeling bad for Phoenix right now, guys.
I agree with you. This is weird. I don't know why this is. The line is -6.5 Phoenix. Phoenix is favored by 6.5. I have no idea why. I don't know anything about this game.
I bet there's some rest.
It's got to. Somebody's out. I bet you're right. Something's
I bet
not.
there's some rest.
Let's see.
I could not imagine full strength Clippers being an underdog.
Yeah, a 6.5 point underdog at home. That is interesting. Don't know. I can't find anything. It hasn't tipped off yet, so I can't see who the starters are. I do not know. Interesting. I would say the same thing. I'm going Clippers in that game as well.
Yeah, it does not compute there. So let's go Clippers, and maybe if you had a chance to bet on that, you might have just got yourself some easy money. So
Kawhi Leonard is that's what it is. Oh, Kawhi and Paul George are both out, so that game lost all the luster.
Swish. Hey, look. Hey, guys.
Kawhi, Paul George, Reggie Jackson, Ivica Zubac, Luke Kennard, all out for the Clippers.
Oh, it's almost as if we were talking about this an hour ago, as if there's some kind of problem in the NBA with
right. We just put all our money on one team and we just lost.
Well, thank you, Clippers. I didn't realize that LA had a copy of my script for this episode, so I do appreciate them playing along with us like that.
It doesn't look like these are for rest, though. I pulled up the injury report. Zubac's knee, Paul George, left knee soreness. Reggie Jackson's also out, left Achilles inflammation. Kawhi Leonard, right knee. There's the first one. Kawhi Leonard is out for right knee injury management. So he's been like that he's the poster boy for load management. And then Norman Powell's out with a groin. Let's go down to Phoenix.
Oh wow, and Norman. I missed Norman the first time you read it. Wow, that's an I mean, I will counter.
Playing, so I apparently my sources are terrible whenever I find him because I screwed up the Ja Morant injury earlier this year when I said he was going to miss 2 weeks and he missed like half a minute. And
well, Shams got that one wrong too, so it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's where it came from. Phoenix Suns, Devin Booker's playing, so Ayton is out. He's got an ankle injury.
I take it all back. Give me Phoenix. And that if Booker's playing and none of those guys are playing in LA, give me Phoenix. A little thought, perhaps. Maybe I know each of these guys had a designation outside of Kawhi, but perhaps that's just because they're trying to avoid whatever backlash the Nets have taken. Like maybe they're just kind of getting in front of this one.
Correct.
Say, oh wait, look, we're not resting. This guy has a knee, and Reggie's Achilles is warm, so he's gonna have to miss one game. To me, it's some of those are like I don't know, man. If your Achilles at risk, is one game off? Is that? That's what's gonna.
The only guy like Luke Kennard is out and he has no comment. There's no injury designation. So, and guys like Kawhi, that's such a tough subject because he's been hurt so much, and you need your star players, and you understand it. And That should be a marquee game. That is in LA too. That's a home game for the Clippers.
That's a shocker too, right? Like that's not even, you're not screwing with someone else's money at that point, which again, that to me, that's where part of it becomes an ethical thing where so I guess at least there's that. At least they're not going
you're
to
losing your own
Minnesota tonight and saying, hey, you guys don't get to see any of these guys you probably paid to see. At least it's their own hometown fans
you're
that
at
are
our
getting
place.
screwed, which is a weird sentence to say.
Very, but I actually agree with you. Like, yeah, I agree with you.
Well, there you have it, folks. We got a not barn burner at 10 o'clock. That's another topic for another day. We have discussed it before. We will dig into it again with the NBA scheduling and some of the decisions that they make and what could maybe be better for building this brand in the future. But until then, I would subscribe. I would love it if you could give us a thumbs up or a comment on your way out. Let us know what you'd like to hear for next week. Again, we love your comments. We love to interact with you. Yes, thank you. And please feel free to send questions. You can reach out to us on Twitter. Our handles are right here on the screen if you're listening.
You're starting to see us tweet a bunch of. It's starting to get a little.
Exactly. You can get previews for this show. You want to know what we're going to be talking about? Follow us on Twitter. If you want a clip or maybe your own take to end up on the show, no guarantees, but you'll never have a chance if you don't reach out to me on Twitter. That's the only way you're going to do it. So outside of that, James, where can they find you? What do you got coming for the people the next week?
You can catch me on the Titans Tilt podcast. I'm having an epic meltdown right now because they are who we thought they were. They're starting to flame out, and they're getting beat by Jacksonville at home 2 times a week there. Otherwise, it's every Thursday here with you, Kev. And it's like you said, if you want to be a part of this, just hop on Twitter and find us. It's starting to get to the point where any clip I'm sending you is actually coming through Twitter, the bull stuff.
Yes. It's an inside track to what we're going to be talking about throughout the week. You can get our hot takes there. You can find me on the Stadium Rant website, which again, thank you. Shout out to Stadium Rant. They are behind the bounce, right? We are here on the Stadium Rant YouTube channel. So please subscribe. We have Necessary Roughness. We have Trevor's daily fantasy show. There's James. Help me out here. We have new programming coming on to Stadium Rant.
I think Trev's got 2 of them now. I think he texted me. He was live last night. Like he said, Necessary Roughness, the NFL show every Tuesday. You've got us every Thursday. I think Trev's back on Fridays.
And we've got other fantasy on Wednesday. So that's 4 nights a week of live shows for all your sports needs. Of course, plenty of articles over at stadiumrant.com. You can find me writing about the AFC South, where don't tell James who I predicted to win the division. Okay, he's not going to like this article when it comes out.
And I get it.
Yeah. Colts fans, you're not going to be happy with me either. It's a good thing.
It's not the Colts.
No, it's not you. It's not you. It's a good thing I was able to quickly graduate from Colts coverage to the whole AFC South because that was depressing.
You had nothing.
That was depressing. I have nothing to say to you about the Colts. But other than that, you can find me at Bite Size Sports. You can also find me at The Last Word on Sports, writing about hoops. I maybe 4 or 5 days ago wrote another little article called "Are the Pelicans the team to beat in the West?" So again, guys, hey, we're here for you. We're here to provide you all of the basketball knowledge. So subscribes, all that stuff. I've done enough call to actions. James, you got any final words for the people?
Nothing else. Can't wait for next week's show. See what's going to happen this weekend with all these games. See if we get anything right. And by next Thursday, I'll be calmed down after Tennessee gets blasted in LA this weekend.
Yep. That'll be tough. But hey, if we don't see you out there next week, we hope you have a Merry Christmas. We will, of course, be here, but we understand if you won't. We'll see you next time, though.
Yep.